Let's raise then the big questions tonight. Are the Rohingyas to be seen as illegal immigrants or should they be treated as refugees? Should Rohingyas be deported to Myanmar where they fear persecution? Can the Delhi government and the Ministry of Home Affairs pass the buck in this manner on a serious issue? Colin Gonsalves, senior advocate who has been advocating the cause of Rohingyas in the court and outside, joins me. Human rights lawyer Siddharth Sharma is AAP spokesperson and Harish Khurana is BJP spokesperson. I want, before I come to the politicians, to you, Colin, to understand from you, where do you stand on this issue? When you've gone to the Supreme Court, what have you asked for? Are you asking that the Rohingyas be treated as refugees and be given all the rights in a way of refugees and not be treated as illegal immigrants and deported? What are those rights you are asking for?
It's very simple, Rajdeep. Bangladeshis who come to India come for economic rights. They come to get certain jobs and so on. They're not refugees. The Rohingyas who came here are different in the sense that they came to India running away from persecution. They were being killed, they were being raped, their houses were being burnt. They came here out of persecution. Refugees have a right in this country under Article 21, which is the right to life. The right to life covers not just Indian citizens, but refugees as well. This is what the Indian Supreme Court has said. Therefore, can you take a refugee and catch him by the scruff of her neck and say, I'll push you back across to Myanmar? It'll be absolutely unconstitutional under the Indian constitutional law judgment. It'll be totally illegal to force a refugee back. Is by forcing a refugee back to Myanmar, you are effectively bringing their lives under threat. And that is a breach of Article 21, the right to.
You're distinguishing, therefore, between those coming from Bangladesh, who you presumably are therefore willing to classify as illegal immigrants, and those who have run away from Myanmar fearing persecution. Am I correct?
Correct. That's the crucial distinction between a mere economic migrant who comes to improve their lives by getting work and so on, and a refugee who had no choice. At gunpoint, they were forced across the borders and they came to India. And international law and Indian law will not allow the government to push them back across the border. It's not allowed. And the Supreme Court did not permit. That is the reason why they are settled in India, and they will be settled until the situation in Myanmar becomes peaceful and they can return.
Respond therefore, Harish Khurana, very clearly put by the lawyer. As per Article 21, those who have suffered facing persecution in their country must be treated as refugees, not as illegal immigrants. And this is what effectively the Union Minister of your own government, of the Modi government, Hardeep Puri, said. When he said India welcomes refugees, Delhi flats for all Rohingya refugees, amenities and police cover for refugees, linking Citizenship Amendment Act to refugees won't succeed. India follows UN guidelines on refugees. This is your Union Minister saying it in the morning yesterday. By afternoon, the Home Minister has a different version. What is it? Let's be very clear. Are they refugees or illegal immigrants? They are fearing persecution and running away from Myanmar.
They are clearly illegal immigrants, and they are a threat to the national security. That is one point. And as far as Hardeep Puri's tweet is concerned, already Home Ministry has clarified it and cleared the state of, because the Home Ministry is the ultimate authority and the agency who is dealing with these illegal immigrants.
Sir, he is the Union Minister, Harish Khurana. He is not just some person tweeting. The Union Minister for Housing tweeted specifically using the word refugees half a dozen times. He was treating them as refugees. The Home Ministry treats them as illegal immigrants. I mean, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing there.
Mr. Rajdeep, but when Home Ministry has already clarified it, and what is the exact position is and what the exact law says, we have no right to intervene what Home Ministry is saying. Home Ministry is capable enough and he'll handle it. Whatever the Hardeep Puri has done it, the matter is closed because Home Ministry has clarified it. Point number one. Point number two, as far as BJP NDA policy, BJP-led NDA policy is concerned. We are concerned with the people, like we have brought the NRC. We are the concerned with the people who are minorities in religious minorities in the state like country like Pakistan, Bangladesh over there.
Why not Myanmar? Why not Myanmar? The Rohingyas are religious minorities in their own country. That defeats your various, you are effectively then suggesting that because they are Muslims, they become illegal immigrants. In their own country, they are a religious minority. Are you saying that Muslims fearing persecution in their own country, when they come to India, cannot take the status of refugees? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I already stated it. Whatever the NRC has said, it is cleared. I'm not going to comment on that because Home Ministry has already clarified it, everything. Point is not this. Point is, one day, your Aam Aadmi Party, which you're saying a passing on a buck, when you said this is not a passing of a buck. Since last 1 year, under the carpet, they want to provide the EWS flats to in Bakkarwala by the government of Delhi only. And by the DM letter, they're writing a letter, DMs are writing a letter to the people.
I'll come to the letter, sir. I'll come to the letter in a moment. I will ask you one more time a direct answer. Religious minority in Myanmar are Rohingya Muslims persecuted there, come to India. Do you treat them as a religious minority which deserves refugee status, yes or no? Or is that only reserved for Pakistani Hindus, Afghan Hindus and only Hindus?
I've already cleared it. Rohingyas are illegal migrants in India and they are really threat to the security. And this has been, IB ministry has already been clarified many times that these people are creating a national security.
Okay. You are effectively, all of you have basically thrown Hardeep Puri in a way. His comments have been virtually disregarded and dismissed, but that's for another day. Mr. Sharma, you're laughing. I have a letter here today which Ajay Kumar Mishra, Minister of State for Home Affairs in the Government of India, has written, dated August 18, that's today, suggesting that there was a meeting held on the 29th of July 2022 where the Chief Secretary of Delhi, presumably working under instructions of the Delhi government, had worked out this plan where Rohingya Muslims allegedly would be given these flats. Their argument, therefore, of the government of India is this original decision came from the Delhi government.
Yeah. Rajdeep, if what you say is true and the Chief Secretary presumably reports to the Delhi government, then why did not the Chief Secretary or the bureaucracy or the LG's office take consent or seek participation of any of the elected representatives of Delhi government? Now, the story has, if you just permit me, just like you permitted the BJP spokesperson and my good friend Colin Gonsalves, he gave us some very good clarity about the status, legal status of this thing. So just permit me for, say, 30-40 seconds. This whole saga has 6 characters. There are 6 characters in this. 3 characters are on one side and 3 characters are playing something else. The Supreme Court of India, character number 1, says that the Rohingyas have to be deported. The government of India says that the Rohingyas have to be deported. The Delhi government openly says that the Rohingyas have to be deported. Now these three arms, the Supreme Court, the Delhi government and the central government are on the same page saying that Rohingyas have to be deported. Now, if they are going to be deported and 2 governments and the Supreme Court are on the same page, what is the difficulty? The difficulty is there are 3 other characters in this picture. One character is Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri's Union Urban Development Ministry. The other character is the institution of bureaucracy run by the LG in Delhi. And the third character, very interestingly, is the External Affairs Minister of India. How? I'll tell you. As far as the Hardeep Singh Puri is concerned, he has already been, as you said, thrown under the bus. He has been disowned. But please understand that Hardeep Singh Puri is a career diplomat, very distinguished career diplomat, and one of the most experienced diplomats, foreign affairs experts in the Modi cabinet. Just keep that in mind. Yet, and knowing that fully well, Hardeep Singh Puri tweeted yesterday that Rohingyas will be rehabilitated. Now, the second character, the bureaucracy of the LG, the purported letter that you are saying about, this discussion happened behind the back of the elected representatives of Delhi, including the Vidhan Sabha of Delhi, which consists surprisingly of BJP MLAs, even 7 MPs of Delhi who are BJP people. The entire bureaucracy led by the LG went behind the back of the entire elected representatives of Delhi and went ahead and suggested that Rohingyas be
You're saying your government had no idea of this.
Yeah, please, let me just complete, Rajdeep, and then I'll take your questions. So this is the 5th character, which goes behind the back.
Who is the
like
6th? Who is the 6th? Let's move on. Who is the 6th?
Oh, the 6th character, very surprisingly, is the External Affairs Minister of India, Mr. Jaishankar, who has, in the last 1 week, met Mr. Antony Blinken, who is the Secretary of State of US in Cambodia, and the readout suggests clearly that they discussed issues of Burma. Now, 1 week ago, India's External Affairs Minister and United States Secretary of State discussed Burma in Cambodia. Within 1 week, a career diplomat, one of the most experienced senior people in Modi government, says that the Rohingyas will be rehabilitated.
You're putting the, no, Mr. Sharma, now you've gone well above your 30-40 seconds, but I will ask you this. I want to know from you, Aam Aadmi Party government, does it believe that Rohingyas are illegal immigrants who must be deported? Yes. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
That has been our consistent stand. That
your consistent stand that where they stay today are to be treated as detention centers. Where they stay today are detention centers. Where they stay today, therefore, are to be treated as detention centers. Am I correct?
The land in Delhi belongs to the central government. The foreigners in India are the central government's jurisdiction. They have to decide about it. Okay. As far as the people in Delhi are concerned, upkeep, just like thousands of Rohingyas in Jammu and Kashmir are also being taken care of by the Indian government.
Okay.
Who is taking care of Jammu and Kashmir?
Okay, you made your point now. Mr. Sharma, you made your point.
Who is giving them food? Who is giving them water? Somebody is giving them food and water in Jammu and Kashmir.
Let's not raise our voices. Let's not raise our voices. The viewer is unable to therefore then sometimes comprehend. But quickly, Mr. Khurana, respond. At the end of the day...
I would like to ask only one question.
Yes.
Let me rebut. I would like to ask only one question from Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson. Tell me, your DM and government of SDM and DMs report to whom? Just tell me one thing. SDM and DM reports to whom? Please answer it. Then I'll come to it.
Yes, Mr. Sharma.
Can you tell me?
Yeah,
your SDM of Delhi and DM of Delhi report
let him know.
Please let me respond. Harish Bhai.
I think Delhi government.
This letter very clearly states that this discussion happened between the Delhi police, the home, the deputy home secretary.
If you don't allow each other to speak, you have asked him a question, Mr. Khurana, let him respond.
And it was discussed that it was supposed to be discussed and taken consent of only the chief secretary. It is very clear that the elected representatives of Delhi were kept out.
So you're saying the elected representatives were kept out, the Delhi government was kept out. Producer, can we just mute the voices? Because you see, you will endlessly blame each other. I want to play what Shashi Tharoor has said. He too is a distinguished diplomat, served as Under Secretary General, United Nations. What does he say? Does India need an asylum law? Do we need to be very clear what are we going to do with those who have been persecuted? Listen to Shashi Tharoor.
I spent 11 years of my life working for refugees, for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. And my friend Hardeep Puri was India's ambassador to Geneva and sat on the executive committee of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. So he understands that in keeping with India's long humanitarian traditions, we have a duty to uphold the principles of international law. You do not send refugees back to countries where they fear persecution. The Rohingyas are definitely persecuted. Their villages are burned. They've been arrested, killed, tortured, maimed, all sorts of things. And they've even been denied the protection of the country they live in, namely Burma, by Burma saying they're actually foreigners. Now, in those circumstances, it becomes imperative that when a refugee is able to find asylum, even temporary asylum somewhere, that you examine their claims and give them decent, humane treatment. Saying you'll deport them back to the country where they're being persecuted is a violation not just of international law, but of India's proud humanitarian traditions. We've had Tibetans in recent years, Sri Lankan Tamils, Bangladeshis in 71, East Bengalis as they were called, Nepalese during the Civil War. We have not sent any of them back to face certain harassment, torture or death. Why would we do that to the Rohingyas only because they're Muslim? I find this a completely unacceptable situation.
So Shashi Tharoor very clear that we cannot treat the Rohingyas any different to the way we've treated Sri Lankan Tamils, we've treated Tibetans, we've treated Parsis, if we could go back in history to centuries when they come into the country fearing persecution. Therefore, Colin Gonsalves, I want to understand where the Supreme Court stands. As was suggested by Siddharth Sharma, the Supreme Court stand seems to be, if the centre believes they are illegal, deport them. Is the Supreme Court clear on that? Or do you believe Siddharth Sharma is not being accurate about what the Supreme Court has said?
Not being accurate, to say the least. The matters came before the Supreme Court several times. And every time when the case law was shown to the court, its own judgments were shown to the court, as in the Chakma case and so on, that they have a right to life, they cannot be pushed back. The Supreme Court caused the central government to pause and said that until we hear all these matters, please don't take any precipitous step.
No, but while but Mr. Gonsalves, the centre in those cases has taken a clear stand in the court that Rohingyas are absolutely illegal immigrants who pose a serious threat to national security. That's what they've said. They do not have the fundamental right to stay in India. So while the court is hearing it, the centre has already said this very clearly there.
Well, the centre has said this for many, many years. But the centre is ashamed that this stand should be reported internationally, because they know they have not a leg to stand on in terms of Indian constitutional law and international law. Therefore, they say it. At the same time, you will notice there's a certain degree of moderation in the central government actual practice. They don't catch people and push them across the border. They know what terrible consequences that will have. Therefore, this whole thing about the centre and the state trying to appear more anti-Rohingya than the other is quite a shameful spectacle. It's very depressing to see the mighty central government and the wonderful Delhi government each trying to outdo the other and tell the public, I am more anti-Rohingya than you are. Look at my stand. For what? 200 square feet of an economically weaker section house. For 200 square feet, you use Rohingyas like a political football. Law-abiding people. You will not find Rohingyas breaking the law. And if you treat them well, they will rise in India and contribute towards economic power of India and political power.
Let me therefore ask you, Mr. Khurana, I'm going to ask you a straight question. I want a straight answer. Centuries ago, the Parsis came to this country, persecuted from them, Persia, we embraced them. Tibetan refugees, persecuted by the Chinese, we embraced them. We fought a war that led to the creation of Bangladesh when we accepted refugees who are coming across the border, persecution by the Pakistani army. Rohingyas are being persecuted in Myanmar. Have we changed as a nation that we now treat the same people as illegal immigrants who when they were Tibetans, when they were Sri Lankan Tamils, when they were going back to Parsis, we welcomed them? What has changed? Why are Rohingyas different?
A simple answer. A simple answer. If you want to take asylum in India, you are from Myanmar. You will take asylum across the border, just near the border. But you have come down to Delhi. You come down to Jammu Kashmir.
You have settled them in Jammu and Kashmir. You put up the centers in Jammu and Kashmir.
Authority. Is it not an illegal immigrant? Is it not illegal? Without informing the people over there, without informing the
set them up in Jammu
forces that we are coming to India. They have come down to Delhi. They do some security threat to India. Who else is responsible? Who will be responsible? Tell me.
Okay. You have decided that they are a security threat. You have decided they are a security threat. I will ask the same. Okay, you made your point. I will ask Mr. Sharma again the same question. Do you believe that Rohingyas are different to Tibetans, Sri Lankan Tamils, Parsis in the past, and therefore must be treated as a threat to national security? A quick answer now.
Yes, it is any ethnic minority or any ethnic group of people coming from across the border, whether they are illegal or refugees, these things have to be decided by the court or the central government. They fall under the domain.
Okay.
This is a constitutional issue. This is not a political issue. As far as India is concerned, whenever an issue of national security raises up, there is cross-party unanimity. Even when during Indira Gandhi's time, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was sent to the United Nations, we take a united stand, notwithstanding the merits of the case. Now, as far as Rohingyas are concerned, they are not considered as refugees by the government of India because the government of India has not signed the Refugee Convention of the United Nations. So, who is stopping the government of India from going ahead and signing the United Nations Refugee Convention?
Effectively, the Aam Aadmi Party has passed the buck onto the centre and said it is for the centre to take the decision. It is for the centre to take the decision. At the end of the day, I ask you, the viewers, have we changed as a nation? That we no longer wish to embrace those who come fearing persecution from other countries. That, my friends, is a point to note. Or should their religious identity decide whether they are refugees or illegal immigrants? Think about it.